What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the week's hottest topics. Man, this has been one crazy week, but this is the week of November 1st through November 6th. Crazy week we have been going through. I think you guys pretty much know the main topic that we're going to be discussing this week, but without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss some of the hottest topics of this week, November 1st through November 6th, shall we? Once this thing stops blinking. All right, you guys, I don't even need notes for this one. So the biggest thing in the week is the election. You guys know the election was this past Tuesday. Well, technically, the election is still ongoing. Hey, look at my face. It looks a little slimmer. I realized I looked on the scale last night. I had dropped 2 pounds, by the way. Feel really good about myself. Sometimes I think that facial hair makes me look a little bit more fuller than what I actually am, but that's neither here nor there. Back to what we're talking about, election. So yeah, election was Tuesday. I was originally supposed to be out for election day, but my new boss, he is a bit of a dick because I got sick on Monday and I didn't have any sick time available, so I used a little bit of my PTO time, and then he sent me a text message talking about I expect you at work tomorrow, but I had 6 hours, so that means that I could have had you could have just said, hey, you won't have the full day, but come in, work for 2 hours and then leave. But no, he wanted me to work the full day. I'm over him. Really, I am. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, I was working election day. Wasn't planning to. Thank God I had already voted. Because if I hadn't voted, I would have been even more pissed than I was. But I stayed away from the television. I stayed away from everything that day. I think the only thing that I watched on Tuesday was the ladies of The View, even though they were talking about the election, but there were other things that they were talking about as well. Mostly the election. And then, come 6 o'clock, because the polls here closed at 7 and 7 o'clock at night. So at 6 o'clock, I got off at 5 and I sat around, and then 6 o'clock, no, 5:30, I was at the gym. And 6 o'clock rolled around, all the news stations were getting ready to start their coverage up of the election. I'm like, okay, don't pay attention to that right now. Just focus on your workout and get that done. So I did. So I finished my workout I was out of the gym about 7:30, close to 8, I think. So I come home. I had it on ABC in my room, in the living room and in the bedroom. I had it on both on ABC. And actually before I left the gym, they had started counting, in some states, the electoral votes. And when I left the gym, Joe Biden had 16 electoral college votes, and I think Donald Trump had maybe 3, somewhere in that area at that time. So I'm like, okay, we off to a good start. And mind you, by election night, I think I had, my anxiety was like super duper high. So I was like, okay, you got to do something to bring it down. Like, cause I was up here, and I was like, whatever happens, happens. If Joe Biden is elected president, good. If YSAP, as my girl Roxanne calls him, is elected, okay. You guys you've managed to make it 4 years under his ignorance. If he, by some stroke of luck, is granted another term, you guys will suffer. You guys will endure as well. So I told myself that. I'm like, but I don't want to endure another 4 years of him. But I'm like, we've endured 4 years already. We could do it again. So I put myself at ease with that. But the thing was, throughout the course of the night, I was just sitting here watching the TV. I was supposed to eat that night. I didn't eat. I had my food out to cook. Did I cook it? Nope. Went to sleep and didn't cook it. So then throughout the night, like I said, I was just watching it. And I was watching So at a certain point in time, I went to my living room and I changed the television station to CNN. So the living room TV was on CNN and the bedroom TV was on ABC because they had different, everybody had different numbers at that time. The Associated Press had different numbers from, the cable outlets. CNN was, had projected numbers that ABC didn't have. So I'm like, okay, let's just get a good broad view of what's going on. So I was like, okay, cool. So I kept looking. I'm like, okay, so we got a significant lead over him. I'm like, cool. And then, they would break in here in Texas with our local news. And, the thing is, they keep talking about Texas may turn blue at some point. I didn't see it, but then when they started talking about some of the counties, especially here in Dallas, that they were looking to maybe flip, it might actually happen at some point. Now, the biggest blue county in Texas that I know of is Harris County, which is predominantly black, which is actually in Houston. If you're not aware of that, I mean, I was looking at my hometown of East Texas. That shit is gonna stay red, unfortunately. That is gonna stay red because that is country hick area. Now I ain't no hick, but I mean you get just what I'm saying. It's really rural and it's country, and it's a lot of there. But it is some of us there. But yeah, I mean, how many of us vote? And that's the other thing. How many of us in my area vote? It's sad. What else? So yeah, back to the election. I was watching it. I was looking at like I said, I was looking at the lead. I say by midnight, I was done. I was like, okay, you know what? Because at midnight I was in my bed. Actually, I was in bed by 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock I kept watching, and then finally by 11:30, close to midnight, I was like, okay, it's time for you to just pack this shit up and go to bed, because at that point I was tired of listening to, and I love, George Stephanopoulos. I love, everybody at ABC. But by that time, I was just really over it, and I was like, okay, I'm tired of hearing these votes, because the counts were coming in very, very slow, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do myself a big favor and go to sleep. So I went to sleep, and somehow, I think about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up again, and I woke up and I looked at the numbers. I'm like, oh shit, that lead has been really, really cut, because they were at that point, they were both in the 200s, but Joe Biden still had, I think at that point it was like 223, and Trump had the low 200s. I was like, oh crap. And then they were talking about the battleground states of Wisconsin, my home state, Michigan, where I was born, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. They were talking about those 6 states and who would potentially take it. Now, at one point in certain states, Trump was leading. He was leading in those states, but that was because of, election day results. They were counting the election day results. They hadn't factored in, the mail-in ballots that he himself told his people not to do, because that would be voter fraud. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit as well. So like I said, in certain states he was leading, especially I know in Wisconsin and Michigan he was leading. But once they started counting the mail-in ballots that were sent in by primarily Democratic, voters, they projected that Joe Biden has won both Wisconsin and Michigan. And it's also being projected that, he could win Pennsylvania. He could also win Arizona and Nevada. So if he wins those, especially if he wins Nevada, and at this point right now, I'm jumping to current, because they've had the same numbers. It's been 253 to 214 since Wednesday, I want to say. I think Because, I mean, when I woke up Wednesday, when I woke up Wednesday, the numbers were still going, they were still coming in, and Joe Biden still had the lead over him. So at this point, it's been 253 electoral votes since Wednesday. Thursday, no change. Today is Friday, and when I'm filming this, no. Well, actually, there is a bit of a change, not in the numbers. The only change today is that it looks like Joe Biden has taken the lead in Georgia. Now, let's discuss YSAP and all his lunacy. So, Tuesday night, I did see Joe Biden. He did come out. He did speak. He said things are looking good for him, which they are. And, he was just very positive, upbeat. He didn't say that he won the election. On the flip side, you got YSAP at the White House. We won, we all but won. They're going to take this from us. We won big in states. He's an idiot. You didn't technically win big in states like people have been saying for weeks. The election day results, and I've even said this on my channel. I said this in one of the week's hottest topics a few weeks ago about voting, because I was watching, who was I watching? I forgot. Because that's why I wanted to vote on election day, because I was like, the Republicans are going to go out and vote on election day, and that's going to help him. And those are going to be the votes that are going to be counted first. And then the early votes, as well as the mail-in votes, are going to be counted last. And that is exactly what is happening. And again, what did I say a few minutes ago? He told his people what? Not to vote by mail and go in on election day. That was a big mistake for you, buddy, because it looks like you're losing. I mean, it doesn't look like you're losing. You're losing, and you're freaking out. And he has all these lawsuits going on at this point. It is utterly ridiculous. Then, he's tweeting shit that ain't even true, and Twitter is taking the tweets down completely. And then, speaking of him, last night he did a press conference, and this fool is talking about illegal votes that are being counted. His supporters are also, and if I have anybody that supports Trump, I'm not attacking you guys, because I know that there are some people who support him that are actually sane, but the ones who are just like cult followers to him, those are the insane ones. Because there are some that are saying that they they can see that they're bringing in votes that don't even count. They brought in votes the day of. When it comes to the mail-in ballots, if it was post-dated for election day, it's still good. And even if they got one that's post-dated for after, they're not counting stuff that doesn't count. Then, you got people talking about they want to see the votes be counted. But there are posters there who are Republican, who are Democrat, and who are independent. These are just random ass people who want to see the shit. It's just ridiculous. And then in certain states where he is leading, he wants them to stop the count. Right? And then in states where he is trailing, he wants them to continue counting the votes. And then you got people out there protesting. You got people protesting with guns. And I'm just like, what the fuck does that contribute to? Like, y'all want to talk about Black Lives Matter so badly, but you guys look ridiculous. You look ridiculous, just like him. You guys, at this point, I think Joe Biden is going to be the, president-elect, and he's going to be number 46, and we can just erase 45. We can just let that be a blemish in history. But at this point, how it's looking, if Joe Biden is elected president, I don't see there being a peaceful transfer of power between YSAP and Biden. I just don't see it. This man is going to do everything he can to try to stay in that office. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Like, I don't get him. I'm just tripping off of his supporters. They're talking about the Democrats are cheating. They're talking about the Democrats are throwing temper tantrums, not wanting people to watch the polls, the votes be counted. And I had to tweet to somebody, I'm like, that is not what's happening. If anybody is throwing a temper tantrum, it's your president that's throwing a temper tantrum like a petulant child. But, I hope this shit ends today. I hope we do not. I mean, I know certain places are saying that they probably won't be finished until the 10th, which is next Tuesday. Like, but it is what it is. As long as I get the outcome that I want to see, I'm cool. Even if we don't get the outcome that I want to see, it's fine. Like I said a few minutes earlier, it's cool. If he is somehow by some stroke of luck, which he does have a slim chance of winning, I think, because when I was watching CNN the last time, I think he has to win Pennsylvania, he has to win Georgia, he has to win Arizona and Nevada and Alaska. He has to win those 5 states. Not even Alaska. He just mostly has to win, Pennsylvania, which has 20 electoral votes. Nevada has 6. Arizona has 11. And Georgia, I can't remember how many electoral votes Georgia has. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section. This is so funny. I know about the electoral college, but damn, I learned more about how many votes are in the electoral college this election than I have in previous elections. And it's also weird, like, even with the Bush-Al Gore situation, that went on for days, but not like this. But in the comment section below, let me know what you guys are thinking, how you guys are feeling, and we'll discuss and go from there. But let's move on now. The rest of the stories that I'm talking about, I feel like these are going to be kind of small talk stories. So the biggest story, like I said, of this week was this election. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So we gotta do some rest in peace this week. A lot of deaths happened this week. The first one that I definitely want to discuss is DaBaby. So his older brother, I didn't get his name. He passed away this week, and he passed away by suicide, which is really, really sad. You hate to hear that anybody took their own life. I can't say it's not that serious because I've actually been in that position myself where I have contemplated suicide. But, so I can't say that it's not that deep because it can be. Sometimes you can just get really down and really depressed with things that are going on in your life, and especially with these trying times of COVID and everything. So I do understand that. I just want to say to anybody who may be battling that, seek, it's okay to get outside help, such as a counselor or therapist. Have someone that is independent that you can talk to about how you're feeling. I know in our community it's kind of taboo, it's kind of frowned upon, but get the help that you need. And then 2 more rest in peace. Gospel legend Rance Allen, he passed away. I can't remember when he passed away, but I know I saw it last week. And it was after I did the last week's video. And then also a rest in peace goes out to actor Sean Connery. And yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the rest in peace. Really sad, really, really sad. A lot, especially DaBaby's brother. That one really is sad. All of them are sad, but that one is the one that really, really caught my attention the most because it hit home for me. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. And then next, let's say get well soon to Jeannie Mai. So you guys know Jeannie Mai from The Real. She was also on Dancing with the Stars. So she actually, I think on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Monday because they talked about it, before Dancing with the Stars came on. So she recently just dropped out of the competition, and she like I said, she had to have surgery. She had it was a life-threatening condition. I can't pronounce the name of it, so I will just spell, what she had. It's EPIGLOTTITIS. I don't know how that's pronounced. So if you guys know how to pronounce it, you can let me know in the comment section below. But it's a life-threatening condition in which the tissue of the windpipe becomes inflamed, potentially blocking airflow to the lungs. Wow. Now I know that, she did tweet that, she's getting better, and that is good. I'm so happy for Jeannie. I actually really do, and I like Jeannie. On the Real, she's actually one of my favorite. Although I don't watch The Real, she is one of my favorites on that show. So I'm so glad that she's getting better. I really am. I really am sad that she dropped out and had to drop out of Dance with the Stars, because I did watch her on Dancing with the Stars, and I will say that from what I saw, Jeannie was doing pretty good in the competition. Now let's Dance with the Stars. The couples that I like the most: Nelly and his partner. That they do a good job each week. Who else? It's Sky Jack. I don't, like I say, I don't really watch it every week. I just if it's on TV, I'll sit and watch it. If not, I go on with my life. Sky Jackson from Disney Channel. I don't know if she's still there, but if she is, she does an amazing job dancing. And since we're talking about talk shows, let's end this one with The Talk. So you guys know that Eve is one of the co-hosts on The Talk, and she just announced this week that she is actually going to be leaving The Talk. And that is because, her husband, who lives in, I think they live in Britain, he lives in Britain, England or Britain, they're getting ready to shut down once again for a second time. And, with her, she wants to be at home with her husband, which I understand that makes a lot of sense. So, when I heard that Eve was joining that show, I was like, oh, that is a really good move for her. She's gone from rapping to acting, now to being a host on The Talk. Good move for her. And Eve will bounce back. She'll be back somewhere soon once everything is clear, I'm pretty sure. And that, you guys, is gonna probably wrap it up for me with this week. There's one last thing that I do want to talk about. Lil Nas X. So his Halloween costume, he dressed up as Nicki Minaj for Halloween. And there are so many people that have issues with that. I was just confused. I'm like, why do y'all care what he dressed up as? I mean, yeah, do y'all talk? I mean, y'all probably do, but I mean, hell, RuPaul dresses in drag. What's the big issue? I didn't get it. I still don't get it. It's not that big of a deal to me. If it doesn't negatively affect you, mind your business. It's that easy. But you guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments in the comment section below, and we do this every week. Same time, same place, same channel. As always, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Socially distance from one another. And until the next one, you guys, I will see you guys later.